What's up, everybody? This is Gabe with From Screen to Shelf, and I am here with Chase, and we want to do a quick review of the movie I.S.S., which this came out this weekend, right, Chase?
Yeah, I went and saw it Thursday night. So yeah, it came out
Oh, you saw it, like, opening
Friday.
night.
Yeah, it came out Friday the 19th.
Cool, and it's just like January where it's like dead. There's not a lot of movies out right now, and this is like the only release I think that we saw that we
Mhm.
were at least excited for. So I
Yeah.
think you and I saw the trailer. I think it was like a month and a half ago.
Yeah.
And we were excited just because the premise it was really unique. So this is
Mhm.
about the International Space Station. You have the astronauts up there, and when they're looking outside the window, they just see nuclear war pretty much raining down on the Earth. Um, and you have Russian astronauts, you have American astronauts, and each of them get orders to take over the International Space Station.
Mhm.
So this is a very much kind of like a claustrophobic how do we get out of this situation kind of movie. You and I haven't texted about it. We haven't even talked about it. So this is going to be
Mhm.
our raw reactions about how this movie transpired. So I'm going to let you go first. So let's do kind of like just our impressions of the overall movie, and then we can kind of do a spoiler talk near the end.
Yeah.
But what were your overall thoughts with ISS?
Overall, I really liked it. I think it was pretty tight from beginning to end, especially during the buildup. I don't think it really wasted any time. Every minute was like very crucial to the plot, to the character development, everything about it. It had me relatively invested the entire runtime. There were some times where it was just like it didn't necessarily get repetitive. Like there's a little romance subplot in there that just I feel like was
Mhm.
just kind of shoehorned in, and that was really about it. That was really the only thing I didn't really care much for. And then just some of the back and forth of the characters and the way that they were acting, that was about it. But also, it's like a do or die situation, a very stressful situation. You know, you're the power of billions is in the palms of your hand, essentially,
Mhm.
with like the way the plot is trying to drive itself. So it's I don't know. I really liked it. I thought the ending was pretty good. It was better than what I thought it would be. Like you said, the claustrophobic environment, I really liked. I think his name was Alexei, the guy that shares like the little counter with the main actress that's like day
Yeah,
one on the
he's
ISS.
in
I liked
quite
him
a
a
few
lot.
movies. I forget
Yeah,
his name, but yeah, I liked his
yeah,
character a lot too.
yeah. He was really good. I really liked Gordon's character. I know the guy that played Gordon. He's in a lot of movies.
Yeah,
Um,
I think he's like in Birds of Prey. He's in
yep.
I think he's in another detective movie. I forgot what it's called, but he usually plays a lot of supporting roles, and he's usually really good at what he does.
Yeah. I thought they were really good. But otherwise, for the most part, yeah, I mean, I thought it was pretty solid. I'd give it like a 7.5 out of 10. It was better than what I thought it would be. It wasn't like outstanding, but I definitely think that like the premise could have been leaned on a little bit heavier, like some of the shots outside of the shuttle. I feel like most of that was in the trailer. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, I feel like even just a few more shots or some focal points on that point, and I get it was lower budget, but also at the same point, like we were talking about, it's very claustrophobic. So like most of your budget's going towards the actors and actresses because you're on one set design, a few corridors, a
mhm,
few pieces. So there's not a lot going on in that department. Like the production value isn't the highest, but
yeah.
yeah, even just a few more shots that maybe would have shown like since it's over a 24-hour span, what it did show was really cool. I just wanted a little bit more of that. But I thought it was pretty solid for sure. I didn't think it was bad in any way. I didn't feel like it was a waste of time. I just think the trailer gave away quite a bit. I really do.
Yeah. Well, oh yeah, because you were kind of forced to watch the trailer, right? Because you had to see it
Yeah.
before. Which movie were
Mhm.
you watching?
I only checked it out because of, what you said. You
Oh,
had
okay.
brought it up, remember, when we were talking about movies
Yeah.
because it's kind of a dry month for a lot of
Mhm.
movies, and so I saw that, and I was like, is this gonna be a movie I wait for streaming, wait to rent, or am I gonna go see it?" And I went ahead and went and saw it, and it's not playing for long. Very
Oh,
limited
really?
show times. Yeah. And I guess to bring up this while it's on, dude, were some of the colors like very, very overblown for you? Or was maybe that my theater
Yeah, I
at the
didn't know
beginning?
if it's like if it was supposed to be that way, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I saw him like really saturated when and this isn't a spoiler because I think you see it in the trailer, kind of like when the
Yeah.
nuclear war goes off and
Yeah.
it's like you kind of see it in the background. It's just like it to be honest, man, it kinda looked like almost like 90s
Yeah.
Independence Day, like,
Yeah.
VFX, dude. It loo and I know it's a smaller budget, but yeah, the special effects, like you said, they're very much kinda winded down, so I don't know if they were just trying to boost those colors just to kinda make
Yeah.
it pop more, because I mean, the set looks great. I do wanna
Yeah.
say that, like, the actual set they're in where, like, the International Space Station, that looks really good, but you could tell that, like what you said, they synced all their money into that, the actors, and that's it, and then the special effects, they were kinda like, Whatever budget we have left over,
Yeah,
but that's where
exactly.
we're gonna make it work." I think you and I are, like, kind of on the same page. I liked it. I liked the anxiety, the claustrophobia of it.
Yeah.
It's a short movie. It's only like an hour and a half long.
Yeah.
So I did like that. Like you said, they didn't really waste any time setting this up. I think that, it's like a 15-minute setup and then all of a sudden you're thrown into it.
Yeah.
Um, my problem with it, I would say are some of the acting I had issues
Yeah.
with. So the main protagonist girl, I don't remember her name, the one that comes up from Earth.
The one
It
that
was
was in West
actually
Side Story?
Oh, I didn't know she was in West Side Story.
Yeah.
Um, it's actually both of them. So, like, and you may see it in the trailer, I don't remember, but it's, her and the other guy she goes up with. Those 2 actors in particular, I felt like those are the drawbacks for me. Gordon
Yeah.
was great. The entire Russian crew, I think, did a great job. I
Yeah.
completely, bought into that, but for some reason, their acting just kinda threw me off where it was kind of like I felt like she was kind of lacking emotion
Yeah.
considering the situation, and then I felt like he was, like, overacting, like, he was just, like, a little bit too intense. I'm like,
Yeah.
Dial it back down, dude." So
Yeah,
it's this weird
Christian,
dynamic.
the other
Yeah,
guy.
was that his name, Christian? Yeah,
Yeah.
like, it was just, like, a little bit I don't know why, he reminds me of the dude from The Office.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
but yeah, dude, it's just, like, their acting kinda threw me off, and it sucks because, like, a lot of the scenes do revolve around them, you know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
I think obviously she's kind of the protagonist, and then you have all the other characters that are kind of, secondary characters. But Christian's pretty important too, and he's in a lot of scenes. And I feel like his acting was just it threw me out of a lot of scenes. I can't lie. I think honestly the best one was what you said, the guy that shared the table with her.
Yeah.
I forget that dude's name. He's such a good actor. He's in a lot of different movies.
Yeah, because it's not Nikolai, because that's the guy that plays a pretty big role in Gordon, and what happens to him. I'm pretty sure it was Alexei, because then the other girl's name was Nika. Veronica, Nika for
Oh,
short, the one
Nika,
that's in
she
the
was great
relationship.
too.
Yeah, she was
I
really
think
good.
yeah, I think she did a fantastic job. Like I
Yeah.
said, I think the whole Russian crew did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
It's just the US crew, outside of Gordon, that's my main drawback. It's just a lot of scenes where I felt like, there was a lot of emotional intensity, and at least with the
Yeah.
protagonist, I just didn't see it with her. Um, and the visual effects, I kinda knew this going in. It is a small budget, but yeah, some of those, visual effects with, like, the Earth, it it doesn't look that great.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
I think honestly, bro, if they had gotten, like, another $1,000,000, like, I
Oh,
think
yeah.
that they could have done, like, a great job with the visual effects and maybe even, um, hired some different actors for the
For certain
American
roles.
crew, to be
Yeah.
honest. I mean, like, those are my main drawbacks. I think that it's a great movie, it's a great premise. I think it's
Yeah.
carried out pretty well with, like, the constraints they had with the budget.
Yeah.
Um, and like what you said, like, I think you had mentioned the ending. I liked the ending too. I mean, there's no other real way you can end it in multiple ways, I guess, but I mean, I think that that was a cool way just to cut it
Yeah.
and leave it at
Yep.
that, and I hope they don't make any sequel or
Yeah.
anything
Yeah.
like that. So I'd give it like you do it out of 10, I do it out of the 5 stars. So I'd probably give it like a 3.5 stars.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't like overly like thrilled coming out of the theater, but I
Yeah.
didn't hate it either. Like you said, it wasn't a waste of time. And I
Yeah.
think in this environment right now where it's so dry in January, and like you and I talk about all the time that we want some new original content, that
Yeah.
people should go out and see it and support it because I think it's a pretty cool movie.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, man, it kinda bums me out just because those actors, to be honest.
Yeah. And I
Um,
guess we can get into spoilers now, because that's one of my biggest complaints I was holding back on. We'll go into it in 3, 2, 1. The fucking ending with Christian, man. Just his entire character pissed me off, bro.
dude, okay,
And
yeah, so that's why I wanted to say too. Yeah,
yeah.
his acting pisses me off, his character pisses me off. He's just a whiny little bitch boy, I'm sorry, dude. Like
He's annoying. Yeah,
yes.
he really is, and, like, I actually felt a little bit of the tension between him and the girl that's from the girl that's day one, the one that played in West Side Story. And then
Yeah.
you have Alexei, I believe is his name. I liked his character so much. I actually felt for him, like whenever
Yeah.
he's cutting the wire for communications, you could tell that
Mhm.
he did not want to do this. But whenever I guess another big drawback when it comes to me is like theoretically 50-50. This premise wouldn't work because whenever it comes to and this isn't getting political, this is just facts with what I'm about to say. Whenever it comes to science, you don't really have allegiance like that. You have
Mhm.
allegiance to the craft and to science and technology. So if they were to get those emails or like the communications that they were getting between the two of them, they would most likely actually just sit down and be like, okay, hey, what the fuck's going
Mhm.
on down there? Let's wait this out 24 hours. Let's see what's going on and let's help humanity. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like that's the most realistic approach. But I mean, again, we're in Hollywood and I liked still what we got. But like you especially wouldn't have somebody like Christian, you know what I
God,
mean?
dude.
Just absolutely unhinged at the end and then just trying to take them out and be the sole survivor to a degree, right?
Yeah.
Especially trying to like I thought that was pretty cool whenever he was trying to speak Russian to Alexei.
Mhm.
And then she just like starts speaking Russian back to him, like, yeah, no. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I thought that was cool. It's like I said, some cool parts. It's just like there were points where I was like, this, I don't know how this would work in real life, trying to keep it grounded in reality. Like it was trying to kind of like portray to a degree
Mhm.
where it's a lot like, hey, this would happen, that would happen, all of that. But I just don't really know how much of that would actually play out to a degree.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I mean, like, I think that's why they try to intertwine that subplot with, like, from what I
Yeah.
understood, there's, like, some, like, radiation, like,
Yeah.
cure, so to speak, that they had
Yeah.
on board, right? Which
Yeah.
is, like I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, when the whole Earth has nuked each other, like, really, how helpful is that gonna
Yeah,
be?
exactly.
Like,
Yeah,
I don't
exactly.
understand that, and that to your point too, man, if I was on that ship and, I saw that, I'd be like, "Screw that." Like, if I saw
Yeah.
those messages, I'd just be like, turn off the screen and leave it at that. I'm not dealing with that. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely like kind of like this Hollywood force situation. But I think I don't know who wrote this. Probably maybe I don't know if this was their first screenplay or first project. It'd be interesting to search that up. But I think the
Yeah.
writing was really tight, and like you said, a lot of the
Agreed.
dialogue in some of the scenes was really well done. I think the biggest constraints of this movie are just the budget that it has. And if it had a little bit of a bigger budget, I think we could have probably got a better movie. Um, my biggest complaint too is just for continuing on the spoiler talk. My wife and I were talking about this. It's when the girl says like it's in zero. What is it? Pod zero or something,
Yeah, something
right?
like yeah.
Yeah. So like, I'm like, why didn't she specify where that was?
Yeah, why do you have to be so
Like,
fucking cryptic if you're
yeah,
gonna give an
just say
objective? I agree.
so like it's in pod zero and so like at the end, right? Like she's like, I think like floating around, she sees something that says pod zero, that there actually was a pod zero. She was actually
Yeah.
referencing something. But I'm like, considering the situation and that the fact that, this is life or death, like I would have been like, hey, it's over here.
Specifics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
over here. This is where it's at. And that part was kind of silly to me when she found out that there
Yeah.
actually was a pod zero and yeah.
Especially
But
when she puts her life on the line as a distraction,
yeah, for
and then it
sure.
comes full circle, and then she hits her in the head and crushes her skull.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
That I forgot about that part. I mean, like you then in that case, you definitely want to give specific instructions. Like,
Yeah.
dude, I'm about to put my life on the line. And she did verbalize that. I remember the dialogue they were having. It was like, you're gonna go on the escape pod, whatever they called it,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna be the distraction. And in that case, I feel like yeah, you're supposed to give specific instructions. So there are a lot of like silly Hollywood moments that kind of come up, and when that one came up, I was like, really.
Yeah.
Like you found it. But
Yeah.
overall, it's not I've seen worse. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? I've definitely seen worse, especially last year. So considering that this is a small time budget movie, had a lot of constraints against it, I still think that they did a pretty decent job. So
Agreed.
I'd give it like a 3.5 out of
Yeah.
5 stars. And I'd maybe even buy it on 4K. I don't know if they do come out with a 4K. This one will
It would look
probably
pretty
just be a
solid.
Blu-ray.
Yeah, most likely. And I mean, HDR necessarily wouldn't make it look the best outside of what, like the 45 seconds a minute that you get of those little, those little
Shots.
shots on there. Yeah. So
Well,
yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool.
do you know, just out of curiosity, I was gonna ask you this, but I kinda wanted to save it for the video, the studio that did this one, 'cause I saw a trailer that they did. Like, so, like, I think it's called something Street Studios. Do you remember the name of it by any chance?
No, you're talking about like the distributor or like the people that actually
Yeah, so
filmed
Bleak
it.
Street Media.
Oh yeah, because
Um,
it said that in there.
yeah, so, the reason I brought this up is because I saw a trailer, at least when this was, like, right before the movie, and it was another Bleak Street Media movie, and it's like, I don't know if you saw it, it's like Out of the Darkness or something like that. It's like a tribal kind of
Yeah.
like 40,000 BCE, horror survival kinda movie, and it's done by the
Okay.
same company. So I don't know if they're kind of like an up and coming,
They're a
uh
subdivision of Neon.
oh, are they?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
Bleecker Street. That's the distributor, which Neon's gotten a lot bigger over the last few
Yeah.
years, and so has Decal. And then it was the production company was LD Entertainment, which I had never heard of before, which was Liddell Entertainment, which I do think I remember that name. Um, they did like The Haunting of Molly Hartley, Silent House, Disconnect, Anthropoid, The Devil's Hand,
Hmm,
Jackie, The Zookeeper's Wife. Like they've had a pretty solid track record on what I've seen. Nothing like, you know, award winning. You know what I mean?
okay.
But yeah, definitely solid. I mean, Neon's been pumping out a lot of heat. They did Old Boy. They put out Infinity Pool, Ennis Men last year. Like they've had a
Yeah.
lot of really good sleeper hits over the last few years.
Yeah, and I think so. You said they're a subsidiary of Neon, and then I
Neon
just looked up
Decam.
that the, the screenplay was on the Blacklist. I don't know if you ever heard of the Blacklist or what it is.
Mm-mm.
It's kind of like, it's kind of like a pile of, like, unproduced screenplays that have been kinda sitting there.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so, like, um and I think a lot of them are actually from, like, writers who are just kind of doing their own thing, and they submit to the Blacklist, project, and then, they kinda sit there, but they do get, like, critically reviewed and stuff, and I guess this one was just kinda sitting on the Blacklist for a while,
Hmm.
since 2020, I guess, it was on the Blacklist then, so, yeah, it sounds like maybe this might have been his first screenplay,
Yeah, Nick
which I think.
Shafir.
Yeah, Nick Shafir, which I honestly think he did a great job. I think it's a
Yeah,
cool premise, and he carried it out really well. It just kind of fell victim to a lot of the Hollywood tropes in a
yeah.
sense, and the budget. What was the budget for this movie?
I think it said 5,000,000.
No, it's at
Yeah,
13,000,000. 13
13.8.
point. That's kind of weird, bro. Like how we talk about Godzilla,
Yeah, under 15,000,000, and then,
and then yeah,
yeah,
and then this one takes place all in space, which is like there's nothing that you need to do really except
yeah,
just build the set. And I'm like, where the hell did the rest of that money go? I
yeah.
thought this was like at least 5,000,000. Like when I'm watching it, I'm like, this budget's maybe like $5 to $10 million.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, and that's kinda gonna be a common complaint for me versus like, I don't wanna compare, like, 2 different things, but what they did
Hmm.
with Godzilla versus this, it's just so much more money, like, that's almost on par with Godzilla's entire thing, and you have a
Hmm.
lot more destruction, you don't just have, like, a CGI Earth with nukes and stuff like that, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you have, like, literal atomic breath, a dude, like, squashing buildings like they're Legos underneath his feet, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
You got
Like
warships and
yeah.
airplanes and all this crap.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
overall, I think we would give this a solid recommendation. Check it out, especially if it hits it. I mean, it's done box office wise so far, and it just released this weekend. So we're recording this on Sunday. By the time this drops, it might have more updated numbers, but definitely support a project like this. Like there are movies like this, like more. I don't know if I'd call this art house, but definitely more smaller indie films like this need more love and support. But that'll be
Yeah.
my closing thoughts for that.
Yeah, no, echo that. Check this out, guys. It's honestly a solid movie. And like what Chase said, try to support different movies, different studios, different distributors, especially independent ones like this, because when in a time where it's like super dry right now, we're not getting any
Yeah,
major releases. This one honestly is a treat. So check it out.
awesome.
And if you guys enjoyed this video, hit like, subscribe, comment down below. Let us know what you thought about the movie if you did get a chance to see it. And like Chase said, this is on a limited release, I guess. So there's not a lot of time to see it. So check it out. And until next time, guys, we will check you out next week.
Later, everybody.